Every February, the world turns red. Hearts in shop windows. Discount chocolates stacked in pyramids. Couples posing for photos. Restaurants fully booked. Instagram flooded with captions about forever. And somewhere in the middle of that noise, there are couples who do nothing. No dinner reservation, no flowers, no public declarations, sometimes not even a text. And from the outside, people ask the same quiet question. Are they okay? But here's the truth nobody says out loud. Not celebrating Valentine's Day can mean 100 different things, and none of them are simple. Imagine this. A couple sitting at home on February 14th. Take-out containers on the coffee table, a show playing softly in the background. No candles, no grand gestures. They look relaxed, they look normal. But what's really happening inside them? To understand the psychology of couples who don't celebrate Valentine's Day, you have to look deeper than romance. You have to look at belief systems, attachment styles, identity, trauma, autonomy, and cultural conditioning. Let's begin with the obvious layer, commercialization. Some people genuinely reject Valentine's Day because they perceive it as manufactured emotion. They associate it with pressure, performance, social obligation. Research in consumer psychology shows that externally imposed rituals can create reactance, a psychological resistance to feeling controlled. When someone feels told how to express love, autonomy kicks in. Why should I prove my relationship on one day? Why should love be scheduled? For certain personalities, especially those high in independence and low in conformity, refusing Valentine's Day is an assertion of self-definition. It's not rejection of love, it's rejection of external scripting. Now, imagine a man who grew up watching affection expressed privately, not publicly. His parents never posted about each other, never did grand gestures, but their bond was steady. To him, love isn't performance, it's consistency. So when Valentine's Day arrives, he feels no internal urgency. His partner may interpret that as indifference, but in his internal model, love is proven daily, not symbolically. And here's where attachment psychology enters. Some people avoid Valentine's Day because it activates vulnerability. Valentine's Day is emotionally exposed. It forces expression, expectation, comparison. For someone with avoidant attachment patterns, heightened emotional intensity feels threatening. Public celebration amplifies scrutiny. It raises the stakes. So the nervous system responds by minimizing the moment. It's just another day. But beneath that statement may be fear of emotional exposure. Now, imagine someone with anxious attachment. Valentine's Day can feel like a test. Will they show up? Will they care enough? Will I feel chosen? If that person senses hesitation from their partner, the day becomes anxiety triggering. To protect themselves from disappointment, they may preemptively dismiss the holiday. Valentine's Day is stupid anyway. Sometimes rejection of the holiday is protection from unmet expectation. Now let's explore trauma. For some people, February 14th is not neutral. It may be linked to past heartbreak, betrayal, abandonment. The brain encodes emotional memory deeply. If a painful breakup happened near that date, the body remembers. Cortisol rises slightly. Old memories resurface. Avoidance becomes self-preservation. And here's something deeper. People who have experienced repeated relational disappointment sometimes detach from symbolic milestones. Anniversaries, birthdays, Valentine's Day. Why? Because rituals create hope, and hope once hurt. Now, imagine a couple who has been together for years. No Instagram posts, no fancy dinners, but quiet, stable affection. Some long-term couples do not celebrate Valentine's Day because they no longer need symbolic reinforcement. Their bond feels internal, not performative. But here's the twist. Stability can slowly slide into complacency. There's a psychological difference between security and stagnation. Security feels warm. Stagnation feels flat. And sometimes couples who skip Valentine's Day aren't rejecting commercialization, they're avoiding confronting emotional distance. It's easier to say, we don't care about that stuff, than to admit we haven't felt excited in a while. Now, imagine scrolling social media on Valentine's Day. Comparison is inevitable. Social comparison theory shows that exposure to idealized relationships can reduce satisfaction. Couples who avoid the holiday may do so to avoid the comparison trap. They choose privacy over performance. And in some cases, that's healthy, because public romance is not equal to private intimacy. But let's go even deeper. Some couples don't celebrate because one partner minimizes emotional rituals. Often, this comes from early emotional environments where affection was not expressed symbolically. If a child grows up without witnessing romantic gestures, they may not internalize them as meaningful. So Valentine's Day feels foreign, awkward, forced. It's not indifference, it's unfamiliarity. Now, here's an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes couples don't celebrate because the relationship is quietly deteriorating. Emotional withdrawal precedes ritual withdrawal. When connection weakens, symbolic gestures feel performative. Instead of reigniting spark, they expose absence. So avoidance becomes easier. But we cannot reduce every non-celebration to dysfunction. Some couples genuinely experience intimacy differently. For introverted couples, a crowded restaurant may feel draining. For highly sensitive individuals, overstimulation reduces enjoyment. They may choose home, quiet, comfort. And that is not lesser love. It's temperament. Now, imagine two scenarios. In one, a couple avoids Valentine's Day but exchanges deep conversation that night. In another, a couple avoids Valentine's Day and barely speaks. Same behavior, different psychology. The meaning is in the emotional tone. There's also something about power dynamics. For some individuals, refusing to celebrate can be subtle control. If I don't acknowledge it, I reduce its emotional significance. Sometimes withholding celebration maintains emotional upper ground. It communicates detachment, and detachment can create uncertainty. Uncertainty can create leverage, but leverage erodes intimacy long-term. Now, let's shift perspective. What if a couple chooses not to celebrate because they celebrate spontaneously throughout the year? Research shows that consistent small acts of affection build stronger relational stability than rare grand gestures. So skipping one symbolic day does not necessarily equal emotional absence. The key question becomes this: is the absence conscious and mutual, or unspoken and misaligned? If both partners genuinely agree that the day is unnecessary, there is no psychological tension. But if one partner secretly desires acknowledgement while pretending not to care, resentment builds. Suppressed expectation becomes silent disappointment, and silent disappointment accumulates. Here's a powerful moment to reflect. If you or your partner don't celebrate Valentine's Day, ask yourself honestly, is it because we don't need it, or because we avoid vulnerability? Is it autonomy or indifference? Is it maturity or emotional fatigue? Awareness matters more than the holiday itself. Now, imagine someone who grew up believing love must be proven through grand gestures. Valentine's Day becomes symbolic reassurance. Without it, insecurity rises. Another person grew up believing love is steady and quiet. For them, the holiday feels unnecessary. When these two people date, conflict isn't about flowers, it's about internal love languages shaped in childhood. So, the psychology of couples who don't celebrate Valentine's Day is rarely about the date itself. It's about attachment style, autonomy, trauma, cultural conditioning, identity, emotional safety, expectation management, and sometimes simple preference. If this resonates, comment below. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day, or do you avoid it, and why? Understanding your own reasoning reveals your relational psychology. And if you enjoy these deep psychological explorations into everyday behaviors that most people never question, subscribe. Because behind every small habit is a deeper story. Valentine's Day is not about red roses. It's about how we define love, and whether we need it witnessed or simply lived. Because sometimes not celebrating means we're secure. Sometimes it means we're disconnected. And sometimes it simply means we've chosen intimacy over spectacle. The day doesn't define the relationship, but the emotions beneath the choice often do.